Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Tuesday, October 29th, 2024. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. Still kind of stuck in the range here for the ES. The previous session, very range-bound, inside day. Today, not faring much better. 21.5 points of range here today so far, and 40% of ADR. This market right here and all the markets kind of awaiting big time earnings after the close today, including Google, AMD. On Wednesday we have Meta, Microsoft on deck. On Thursday, Amazon, Apple, Intel. So a bunch of big earnings here later on in the week. Pre-market today we do have some earnings out of McDonald's, Crocs, SoFi, and BP, so there are going to be some earnings here prior to the RTH Open that could move a few things. But right now, still stuck in the range, still an upward bias, but very much in a holding pattern, not only ahead of earnings this week, but also ahead of the election next Tuesday. So we have a kind of a range-bound pattern here. It's still avoid the chop if you can, look to fade the edges, and until we get out of this range here, it could continue to see a bit of back and forth price action here. Now, a failure through that 5,800 level opens up 5,700 down below. Any push into 5,800 could still be a buy for a return back up, but a failure there, you're opening up not only 5,700, but you could open up a bit more of a pullback here. So again, still is stuck in the range. This range right now, working on now its third week in that range, and could build a tremendous energy for expansion down the way. If we take a look here at the NQ, similar price action out of the NQ here today. Very narrow price action, just 38% of ADR, 100 points of range. Not quite inside day, but kind of very, very narrow, right at the center of this overall range. This range has enough energy here for 1,500 points of expansion here at some point, perhaps even more. Again, an upward bias overall, but here near the upper edge of this range, call it 21K here, if there is any major rejection, we could see a rotation back within the range, back toward value, VWAP, and the 200-day moving average. Of course, a move of that magnitude may not materialize until post-US presidential election. Until then, we could continue to see kind of a risk-off and range-bound approach to this market. So again, look to avoid the chop near the center of the range. Look to fade the edges. If price gets up there toward the 20,600 level, 560 to 600, that could be a fade back down. Price gets into the 400 level. Down below, it could be a fade back up, but until then, it could be a lot of chop here near the center of the range, especially as the market anticipates earnings later on this afternoon out of big tech, including Google and AMD. Now, taking a look here at crude oil. Crude up right now 1.4%, kind of backed off the previous session's lows today, off the lows of the day, kind of auction lower here in the first opening hours of the after hours trade. Also during pre-market, it finally pivoted, turned higher, and we're now inside day, staving off a drop further below the 67. 67 has been a big time area of support. You can see how 67 has held it yesterday, and over recent weeks it has bounced off that area. But again, we're in a downtrending market overall. From that strong pivot high, we're in a downtrending market in terms of seasonality. So even if we do bounce back up towards 70, it could still be a selling opportunity as this market continues to work its way downward. So right now, a little bit of a bounce back day, but any bounce could still be seen as a swing selling opportunity in crude oil. Taking a look here at gold futures right here. Gold up right now 0.3%. This one has been range bound with an upward bias over the last 5-6 sessions. This one continues to be a buy the dip opportunity at all costs here. Any pullback, a buy, and that's what we've mentioned to begin each month of trading. We're likely to finish this month on the highs, and it could be another buy the dip situation heading into the next month. In November, first week of November, any pullback back toward 2680 to 2700 could be a buying opportunity for another rotation up as this market approaches 2800 up above. Looking at the YM right now, inside day at the moment. This one was a bit more bullish yesterday, opened strong but then flattened out near the end of the day. Today seeing a bit more selling pressure here, but still inside day. It's a double inside day in a very narrow 4-day range overall. Still an upward trend for the most part. You can see kind of right here, still trending up within this kind of upward sloping pattern here. Continues to hold above 42K overall, and that's a big time level right there. A failure there and you start opening up a bit more pullback toward 40K, and that's where you have a rising 200 and a rising year-to-date VWAP. Again, that could be a target down the road that could be hit post-election. Depending on the results, maybe there's a pullback, and then you could see value be defended for a continuation up. So we'll continue to monitor that situation, but 42K very important here near term as a support level. Today, again, a little bit lower right now, but still mostly range bound, especially within Friday's range here. So could continue to see some back and forth overall until proven otherwise. Looking at Bitcoin, Bitcoin had a strong day in the previous session, up over 5% and closed above 70K for the first time since June. That was a big time close. Right here you can see that closing value, biggest closing value since the beginning of June here. This market really hadn't wanted to find acceptance above 70K for very long, and here today it is building on that strength from yesterday's market and has reached a high today of 72,345. So 72K, big time continuation. This is a building on the MGR gaps we had early yesterday, something we mentioned with regards to Bitcoin and Ethereum, both gapping up above the previous midpoint to start Sunday and Monday's trade. That type of MGR setup could not only lead to higher prices here for the coins outright, Bitcoin and Ethereum, but also Bitcoin miners, including Marathon, CleanSpark, Riot, and others. And those had huge days yesterday. And with this continuation here, we could continue to see some strength up ahead. Now, 70K has been a level where this market hasn't stayed above for very long. But if it can transition through 70K, you start to open up the next market structure to 80,000. This thing trading on a 10,000 point increment right now. So 50K here, you have 60K there, 70K is about right there, and then 80K is right here. So to transition through 70K, you start to open the door to new all-time highs in the 80,000 up above. So can it stay above 70K? Again, lately it has not been able to stay above that level for very long before it rotates back down. But as we mentioned before, Q4 could be very bullish for crypto in general, as this market could make a move into the end of the year. So keeping an eye on 70K here in Bitcoin. Looking at Ethereum, Ethereum outperforming Bitcoin here today. This one up just about 5% here at the moment, 4.85% off the highs of the day just now. But this one has been big time compressed, range bound, 600 point range as we mentioned before, 2200 to 2800. A bit of a rounded behavior here as well, and as soon as it can get through 2800, as we mentioned before, you start to open up the next two major market structure distributions above. You have 3400 and 4000 that would be on tap for that one. So this one really needs above 2800. It needs a strong transition day through that level. Once it can do that, it really opens up the upside. Good day here today, but still mostly stuck in the range until proven otherwise. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this develops heading into the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.